Whew, wow. Welcome to a new episode of Nate's MMA Corner. I'm Nate. Today's episode is a post-fight show for UFC 161. Sugar Rashad Evans versus Dan Henderson. And wow, I was right about 3 of the 5 main card matches. So overall I was right, but 2 of them I was wrong. We'll get into that in today's episode. And so yeah, let's get right into it. The main event was a light heavyweight bout, 3-rounder, not a 5-rounder, with Rashad Evans versus Dan Henderson. Rashad Evans won by split decision. Yeah, Rashad stole the show. I'm a big Rashad fan. Like I said on the pre-fight show, I like them both, but I'm a slightly bigger Rashad fan. And Rashad was just the aggressor. I think that's what got him the decision. He landed almost the same amount of strikes, significant strikes, as Dan Henderson, but I think what the judges were looking at is because Rashad was the aggressor, that worked in his favor. And he was 0 for 8, I believe it was, for takedowns, because Dan Henderson is just a great wrestler. All the credit to him. Hard fought fight, action packed. Couldn't be happier about this main event. Of course, I wish there was a title fight on this pay-per-view, but that's hard to do with every pay-per-view with injuries and whatnot. I mean, these fighters, they train hard. It's pretty intense training these fighters do. So, yeah, Rashad Evans was ranked number 6 in the UFC rankings. Now he beat Dan Henderson, who was ranked number 3, so Rashad should be back in the top 5. I'm so happy. Now let's get to the co-main event, which is Roy Nelson versus Stipe Miocic. Now this is one of the 2 matches I was wrong about. I was right about Rashad beating Dan Henderson, and this one I was wrong. Sorry, my buddy Stipe. Sorry I doubted you. You did a great job. It was a risky fight and it paid off. You got to be ranked in the top 10 now. Stipe uses great boxing skills, dodged the overhand right of Roy Nelson, I believe on multiple occasions throughout the whole match. This was really all stand-up for the most part, and actually I think the entire match was all stand-up, and Stipe just landed a crap load more punches than Roy Nelson. And Stipe got one clean shot landed on him, and Stipe was able to just shrug it off and keep landing more punches. And Stipe hits hard, so Roy Nelson's a warrior, taking those hard punches. And yeah, I'm glad that Roy Nelson will be back in the UFC from the look of things, and he will continue on. And Stipe, I'm glad he's in the top 10. Out of the dozens of UFC fighters, past and present, I've met, Stipe's easily one of the nicest I've met, and couldn't be happier for a nice guy. And the third match on the pay-per-view main card was a light heavyweight bout with Ryan Jimmo and Igor pokrajac. Yeah, Ryan Jimmo just uses amazing karate and stand-up skills to time his punches and kicks and whatnot. And because Ryan Jimmo is Canadian national champ, karate champion over there in Canada, and Igor pokrajac is a great UFC veteran, but yeah, Ryan Jimmo is a real deal. He was able to deal with the grappling of Igor and outstrike him, and just dominated each round. Won a clean unanimous decision, and yeah, this one of the matches I was right about. Ryan Jimmo won. Congratulations, Ryan Jimmo. Then in the women's bantamweight division, we had Alexis versus Rosi Sexton. This was part grappling war, part stand-up, hard-fought fight, just all over the place. And towards the end of one of the rounds, Alexis flattened out Rosi Sexton, had her back, was teeing off on her. There was maybe 20 seconds left in the round. Herb Dean looked like he was about ready to stop the match, but then when they had the clap showing that there's 10 seconds left in the round, I think that's what may have stopped Herb Dean from stopping the fight and just let it go to the next round, because Rosi had her hands. She was defending. She was blocked. She was doing all she could possibly to block the shots, so she wasn't completely out, and you could tell she was still alive in the fight, barely hanging on. Rosi Sexton, still a great fighter, brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Alexis Davis, black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and it showed. I mean, she had the slight advantage in the ground. You could see it. You could see it. And congratulations, Alexis Davis. I was right about this one. And yeah, Alexis Davis won by unanimous decision. It was hard fought though. It wasn't an easy win at all. And then to kick off the pay-per-view, we had Pat Barry versus Shawn Jordan. And yeah, this one I was wrong about. The other match I was wrong about. Yeah, I had Pat Barry winning by knockout in the first, second round using his kickboxing and his heavy hands. And Shawn Jordan just landed a couple good uppercuts and just capitalized and trapped Pat Barry against the corner, and next thing you know, Pat Barry fell. And Shawn Jordan was awarded the victory in 59 seconds of the first round. Congrats, Shawn Jordan, a fellow Texan. Went to LSU. And I like both these guys. I'm a bigger Pat Barry fan though, because he trained with Brock back in the day. Brock Lesnar, former UFC heavyweight champ. And yeah, overall I enjoyed this pay-per-view. A lot of hard fought, great fights. Yeah, I wish there was a title match, but it's hard to have a title match in every pay-per-view with injuries that go on, and I understand that as a fan and knowing how hard these fighters train. So yeah, that wraps up the post-fight show for UFC 161. Hit the subscribe button. My next episode will be coming in the next week and a half or so, with a pre-fight show for UFC 162, Chris Weidman versus Anderson Silva. And also I hope to do some one-off episodes interviewing fighters and showing some training camps in the sport of mixed martial arts. So until then, I will see ya.